Let's jump into this. You guys totally don't want to see the graphics at this low settings. I'll fix this in a sec. Spawning in the top right position as the red Zerg player coming in from TeamLiquid, it is Zenio. I always get the wrong overlay picked up. And spawning in the bottom left position as the blue Terran player coming in from Quantic Gaming, it is Apocalypse. Alright, I figure you guys, normally you're never supposed to show the options menu when you're casting, but I figure you guys want to see probably above medium shaders. Alright, there you go. That way the game will look a little bit prettier for you. Alright, so we are kicking this off here. This is a best of 9, keep in mind, guys. So basically, it's best of 9 team league all kill style match. You guys know the deal if you've been tuning into the Acer Cup matches. You know what's hip hopping, you know where it's at. And both of these guys, I think, pretty solid players. I'm interested to see if the recent Banshee buff is going to influence our game. I feel it's definitely possible that the Hellbat nerf will influence the game. At the very least, the Hellbat nerf is going to gonna make Banshee play a little bit more popular. But it does look like Apocalypse will be going for the 15 CC, while we have the 15 hatch from Zenio. And let's take a quick look as to what these guys are doing in the Acer TeamStory Cup so far. So let me just pop open the ultimate caster tool. It's called the Caster Holy Grail. It is Liquipedia. Nothing quite as useful as it that exists. But currently, these two teams are actually kind of in an almost gridlock scenario. TeamLiquid, when we look at Zenio, TeamLiquid is currently 7-4 in match score. They are in 4th place in the Acer TeamStory Cup. If they continue to win out, they will make it to the playoffs, I believe. So they are looking pretty strong right now. They're still on a slippery slope. They have Mouse Sports very close by. Quantic Gaming is actually still in the running to make it into the playoffs. They will need to win out and hope for a couple of losses on the parts of TeamLiquid and potentially Mouse Sports as well. So there's a lot of stuff at stake, I guess I should say. Apocalypse follows up with the standard gas, getting a pretty quick bunker and the natural. Zenio wants to know what's up because, well, the CC was not built on the low ground. And Zenio will open up with speed. So this isn't crazy. He's only mined enough gas to actually get Zergling speed. He's not doing anything else. These 4 lings are going to try to go, maybe put on some pressure. Mostly going to be scouting. Since he should know that there's a bunker there. I guess he doesn't see it. But Apocalypse wants to wall off very, very quickly. And he's just going for standard play. Apocalypse isn't doing anything weird whatsoever. He is going to take a second gas as his factory finishes, which leads me to believe that it's just going to be... He's walling off very quickly. You can kind of tell he's a little bit nervous about maybe getting hit by some sort of big early aggression or speedling attack. I mean, Apocalypse hasn't actually scouted much at all. He hasn't scouted at anything, literally nothing. But Zenio's not doing anything super greedy himself. He opened with the speed. He's actually mining gas again as he takes this 3rd hatchery. So Zenio's just keeping his options open. But here we go. Starport, Tech Lab, already seeing some stuff here that we pretty much never saw. That we've never seen in Heart of the Swarm. This build, of course, this style was very popular in Wings of Liberty. But the Hellbat was pretty much so good that there was no reason to ever not. There's no reason to not open up Hellbats. And well, now we have a couple Hellions just pushing out. Thankfully, Ling speed is done for Zenio, so maneuvering around the Hellions isn't that hard. And we see a double Overlord scout at the same time. What this is going to do is guarantee that he gets all the information. Of course, we see the tech lab on the starport. No cloak being researched, but cloak only costs 100 gas to actually to research. So it's a very cheap investment. It's not really that hard to get like it used to be. And Zenio will scout that the cloak is on the way for the Terran player. Apocalypse kills the Overlord off. We might see a cancel on cloak. Third command center is coming in for the Terran player. He's got a good number of Hellions, and I think this is a pretty solid opener. And one of the cool things about people going back into Banshee play is it's going to start deterring people from doing all of these mass Baneling Roach all-ins that we've seen in the I guess you could say the intermediate phase. Wow, you know what? I just can't think of the proper word, but the intermediate area, intermediary. I'm just gonna keep trying to say it over and over until it works. Phase of Heart of the Swarm, where we saw everyone opened up with, you know, the regular aggression, and then Terran versus Zerg was kind of just CC first all day, and it still is a lot of CC first, but it was into Widowmine and Hellbat play, which wasn't really strong versus Roach Baneling. So that became incredibly popular, and I think now the metagame is going to shift again. Roach play will still remain viable, but the fact that players are going to be going more so into Banshees again does mean that we should see some other builds pop up a bit more, such as the 2-base Mutalisk style, as well as not really quite as many Roach all-ins, but Apocalypse is just keeping up a lot of pressure with these Hellions, just doing as much as he can. Double Evolution Chamber is going for Zenio, so he just wants to get his upgrades going. Baneling Nest is on the way, and the thing is, Baneling Nest should finish up around the same time or slightly before that layer completes, and we even see the Cloak for Apocalypse becoming quite useful in this scenario. So you're starting to pick away at these queens. And someone in the chat asks who goes to the playoffs, top 6, top 4. It's top 4. If you guys are curious who makes it to the Acer TeamStory Cup finals, I believe those will be held in Germany. Now, as far as what Apocalypse scouts, his own engineering bays are not really that far behind. And oh, he's actually going to bring all the Hellions and snipes that queen off, and he will retreat. A nice pick-off there for the Quantic Terran player. This game's very even so far, though. I just want to make sure you guys, or at least that I clarify to you guys, nothing really crazy has happened in this game. We've seen some Banshee pressure. We've seen some Hellion poking. 7 drones have died, which is very nice for Apocalypse. But 7 drones isn't really going to win the game. Behind this, Apocalypse moving into siege tanks with Marines. This is kind of interesting, only because no one ever does this. We see the scan go in the main base. Apocalypse just wants to know what he is doing here. In his main base, he wants to be able to scout out. And here we actually have a Hellion drop in the main base, and Apocalypse just going trying to do some damage here. Gets a couple of drone kills so far. Ooh, they're lining up quite a bit as Zenio tries to run these drones out of the base. The Zerglings will be able to pick this up, but there's the medevac, and he can actually just immediately leave or boost away. Not even running into too much trouble there, as he does manage to escape, and he's gonna bring the Hellions back in from the drop. There are some Roaches and Banelings here though, but of course Apocalypse can always lift up into this medevac, which is the cool thing, the safety net of his strategy. Now 12 drones killed. Apocalypse has a nice comfortable position. These Lings are gonna go after a few of these SCVs, the first workers to die this game for Apocalypse. The other really awesome thing is that when you go for Banshee play like this, it gives you a lot of map control. Of course, you can shoot down on units that cannot shoot at you. Even though the Hellions are no longer really a factor in this game, he does have access to the Banshees. But this is where things get interesting. The Mutalisks are coming out of the field. Baneling speed is done. 2-2 is on the way for both of these players. It's still very close. Only about maybe a minute or so difference as far as Zenio and Apocalypse go. And it's so hard to abuse a 1-minute timing hole. But Macro Hatchery on the way, as well as Roach speed. So we're seeing something kind of Hyun-esque, with Ling Roach Bane being very, very heavy as far as the composition goes, into Mutalisks. And you know what, I feel weird saying Hyun just because Hyun wouldn't get the mutas, but everything else looks really, really a lot like something we would see out of him. Of course, finding a bit more success in Heart of the Storm. But now we see Apocalypse bringing up the siege tanks with the Marines. He wants to put some pressure on, deny this 4th base. He will be able to, no problemo in stopping that. The Banelings run in. The Banelings detonate on the siege tanks, though. And the Mutas are trying to focus down the tank. They will be able to get it, but there's not enough here to fight off all of these Marines just yet. With the 2 2 not anywhere near being complete, though. He will have to retreat, as that almost actually finishes up during the fight for Zenio. Zenio loses quite a bit, though. He loses all of his Banelings. He loses a couple of his Mutalisks. He loses the 4th base. And Apocalypse, he mostly loses, well, there's just those 2 Siege Tanks and a handful of Marines. Keeps the medevacs intact, and he's looking quite fine. Infestation Pit on the way for Zenio. Of course, he wants to get his hive up. He wants to get the 3/3 upgrades. He doesn't want to fall behind. Now, the mutas are poking in the main. There's not really a lot of them, but Zenio wants to make them useful. As long as he doesn't lose the mutas, it doesn't matter. They have very fast health regen. Apocalypse sending a double drop into the main base, though. This is potentially going to be able to do some damage. Now, keep in mind, he does not have his 2/2. These Zerglings do, however, and that's going to make them a little bit more effective at stopping the drop. But just on their own, the Lings are not going to be enough. There goes the scan. Apocalypse cleaning up some creep tumors while he attacks the main base. The spawning pool will actually die, and that's going to limit the unit production quite significantly for Zenio. Drones are going down left and right. Apocalypse is taking a monstrous lead in this game as he continues to work away on this drone line and the tech. The Baneling trying to come in here and catch this drop. He will be able to finally clean it up, but he's lost a significant amount. During that time, let's look at the units. Lost tab, 3K resources. A lot of those were in the workers, and that's going to hurt the future economy of the Zerg player, as well as 62 drones to 72 SCVs. Big lead right now for Apocalypse. Zenio wants to try to go for a counterattack and get something done here. These Hellions, we actually see Hellbats mixed in now by Apocalypse. Keep in mind, Hellbats do 2-shot Lings with the upgrades, and I think the Hellbats even get plus light damage from those armor upgrades as well, so not bad. The hive is on the way for Zenio, but he has to rebuild the spawning pool, and the Terran player already has the 3/3 going. So what this means is once the 3/3 is done, Apocalypse is going to be in a really great position. Now he just needs to spread his bio versus the Banelings. Here he goes. He's moving in towards that 4th base. Zenio trying to make something happen, but this bio spread for Apocalypse is actually ridiculously good. And that's going to be a fantastic little play there from the Terran player. We'll be able to shut that army out no problem. And it does look like Apocalypse taking a very commanding lead in this first game here of our Acer TeamStory Cup best of 9. He wants to open up strong for his team. Now he's moving in towards that 3rd base. And this is it. This is it. Zenio's going to bring absolutely everything. There's only 2 Banelings. Will he get the hits? No. And now it's just Mutalisks versus Marines. GG says Zenio. Apocalypse takes the first game here in this Acer TeamStory Cup best of 9. Great play from Apocalypse. So nice. So guys, that was game number 1 here in Liquid versus Quantic. Quantic is now up 1-0 in this best of 9 series. We'll be jumping into the next game as soon as it is available. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. You're watching the Acer TeamStory Cup, and yeah. Stay tuned.